people tell me how to respond to a conversation that they want to have with. Don't get upset. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but yeah, okay.
Well, thanks for the alert. Now I've got my jerk filter going.
I'll respond how I respond. So if you're trying to prevent me from having an emotional reaction, probably don't key me up for it. My job as a leader is to hold my team accountable, is to manage the team conflict. There ain't nothing tough about that. Do your job. Welcome back to Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. I'm DocShellie.
And I'm Carla Lewis. This sounds like something everybody's going to be able to relate to. And either because they have done this or they've been the victim of it.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. So the title of this episode could be "The Conversation That You Are Not Having Is Running Your Life." The fact is that we communicate whether we're conscious of it or not. I mean, avoidance is communication, just like no decision is a decision. So the conversations that we are not having, that we refuse to have, they don't actually just go away. They're going to find a way to show up. And so recognizing, number one, that phenomenon exists. And number two, talk about how it is really affecting our work lives, our personal lives. And then let's take a look at what might it be that gets in the way of just that biting the bullet kind of notion. This doesn't, just because it's hard doesn't mean it isn't important, and we need to get into it. So let's get into it.
Oh, where do we start? Why do we even avoid the conversation to begin with?
One would think that if there's a chance there's going to be some kind of chance for discomfort, not for uncomfort. There's going to be a chance for discomfort. It's going to be uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form. It's going to probably turn into some kind of an argument or a challenge that maybe I just don't want to get into. And so it's much easier for me to swallow it than it is to spit it out. That's one answer.
When people tell me how to respond to a conversation that they want to have with me. Don't get upset.
Oh, yeah,
Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but yeah, okay.
Well, thanks for the alert. Now I've got my jerk filter going. Yeah.
I'll respond how I respond. So if you're trying to prevent me from having an emotional reaction, probably don't key me up for it. Because then I'm also that jerk that will be like, oh, you don't want me to be mad? Now I'm going to be really mad, even if I'm not.
I'll show you. So it's interesting. But the question you asked is actually provocative in that it suggests that the conversations that we don't bring up might be mostly about something that we don't like, don't want, don't need, are bothered by, we're hurt by, are confused by, and are challenging. I don't know. But I think there's also conversations that are on the positive side. I'm thinking like people who very much care about another person, but are afraid to speak up about it. And that may be more on the younger side of life. I'm not sure, but maybe not. So what makes a conversation something difficult to have?
I think people think.
Yeah, I do too.
I think people think. If they don't say anything, then they're preventing what you're talking about, like the confusion or the resentment. But also, if we avoid the conversations, those things build and get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
The longer we prolong the conversation, the bigger the resentment, the bigger the confusion, the bigger the frustration, whatever other adjective you want to put into that lump of things that can happen when we avoid a conversation. Also recognize that when we do avoid a conversation, it speaks volumes to people.
It does. I mean, that silence is deafening. And you could consider it in the workplace. Let's consider it from a leadership point of view. As a leader, when maybe you have employees that are not performing well, they're not meeting expectations. Maybe there's team conflict. Maybe it's
but I
just
don't need to address that because it'll just be fine.
It'll just work itself out. So if I keep it quiet, people will get it. I remember the story you told about that person that didn't show up at 8:00 because in the morning at the beginning of a workday because they didn't know that was an expectation. But
we have flexible work hours, but you're not here at 8:00, so you're late every single day, and I'm tired of it. So, am I missing anything at 8:00? No.
So misaligned expectations, team conflict, employees that aren't pulling their weight, aren't meeting the expectations for performance. As a leader, those are tough conversations. They're important.
I don't even label those as tough conversations. That is your job as a leader. There's nothing tough about holding an employee accountable to a job where you have clearly outlined the expectations. If you have not clearly outlined the expectations, that is on you. But I don't ever consider that a tough conversations. The tough conversations are you have an employee who has really bad body odor and everyone else is complaining about it. That is awkward. My job as a leader is to hold my team accountable, is to manage the team conflict. There ain't nothing tough about that. Do your job.
And I think it's hard to argue the points you raise. It is also my observation over a few years that many leaders are not equipped.
Oh, I'm not saying they do it, but it's not hard.
No, any job is going to be easier if you have the right tools and you know how to use them. The fact is that you can have the tools and misuse them and cause even greater harm. But I have watched leaders struggle with being able to have those conversations that are corrective or that are investigative, trying to just get to the bottom of what is it that's not meeting the expectations or the needs. And when they're not equipped, I actually don't blame the leader. I blame those who put a person like that in a leadership position without providing them with or making sure they have the capacity and capability to do that job.
But here's the thing. People talk to people all the time.
Yes.
They are capable of having a conversation.
Yes.
They should be capable of holding somebody accountable to a job that they were hired to do. The fact that we sit there and we teach crucial conversations, difficult conversations, you even just labeled it a tough conversation. Why do we have to call them difficult, crucial, and tough? We're putting a stigma on those conversations that absolutely does not need to be there.
So why is
we're making it harder for people to lean into those conversations because we're already going, guess what, leader? This is going to be the hardest conversation you've ever had because you have to hold somebody accountable. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be crucial. It's a freaking conversation. Nobody's life is on the line 90% of the time when you have to hold somebody accountable. That's not tough.
It would help if you cared a little bit about this.
I'm a little fired up about this. It ticks me off. And yet I teach crucial conversations. I teach difficult conversations. I hate the label.
Yeah.
Because we're already gearing people up. Just like I said at the beginning, if you come at me with a conversation and you go, now, Shelly, I don't want you to get upset. I don't want you to be mad. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you've already preempted me to go, okay, so you're going to be a jerk. I'm going to get mad. How is that any different when I teach somebody you have to have a crucial conversation because you need to hold a team member accountable? They're already like, oh my God, it's a crucial conversation. I can't screw this up. The pressure. Woo.
So why do you think that is? I mean, it's a fascinating
this is not at all where we were going with this podcast episode. So I Took a hard left on us.
But sometimes those are the best turns. But seriously, there's this preconditioning that goes on that says, okay, if it's not happy path, if it's not, it's going to be unicorns and ice cream or whatever the phrase
Sunshine,
is.
unicorns and roses.
Yeah, there we go. That. If it's not going to be that, then it makes it hard or difficult or uncomfortable. What precipitates that? Why do you have to teach crucial? Why did the Crucial Conversations people develop a program called Crucial Conversations? I don't think it was because it's about hard conversations. It's about important conversations that can uncover uncomfortable things that need attention, because nobody wants to be doing a sucky job.
They are necessary conversations.
Yes. Necessary conversations.
They are necessary conversations for people to do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But they don't have to be uncomfortable. They don't have to be awkward. They don't have to be difficult. All those labels that we throw at it. It's conversation. Why put that pressure on yourself?
I don't know that people put it on themselves.
They do. It's put on them and then they accept it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the conditioning is, now we were talking about it in terms of leadership. I'd like to explore it as well in terms of relationships. But in leadership, it's saying you've got a line to toe. You have people that work for you. We have expectations of you and your team for delivering blah, blah, blah. And so it's your responsibility to make sure that happens. Have the conversations you need to make sure it happens. Mm-hmm. And we will have conversations with you to make sure that you're getting and doing what you need. Seems pretty benign. Mm-hmm. How about if you look at it through the lens of relationships? Not necessarily business. So, yeah, same thing. Crucial conversation is a necessary conversation.
Yeah. People avoid conversations for all the same reasons. I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want to make them angry. I want to avoid resentment.
For those who are listening, you're missing the very important body language as Michelle delivers that message with that kind of sassy head back and forth. I don't want to. It's really quite delightful. Okay. So, a crucial conversation is a necessary conversation. That does not equal hard. That does not equal conflict. It just is an important conversation, a necessary conversation. Okay. All right. So the fact is that we have been conditioned then in some way for conversations that it's okay to not have those that you're not comfortable having. Or we make those choices, but the conversation itself that needs to take place doesn't actually go away.
The conversations don't go away until you have them.
And in the offing, in between, there's a need to have this conversation and it happening. The longer it stays unexecuted, it's still running your life, right? It's still impacting things.
When we're not having the conversations, oftentimes we then avoid people because, I know I got to have that conversation with that person. I really don't want to. So I'm going to avoid them. I'm going to circumvent. I'm going to talk about anything else but that one thing. And then when that one thing comes up, I'm out. And it's always in your head. You're constantly playing a game around this conversation that you are avoiding.
Yeah.
Or, as some people do, they play the what if I have this conversation 1,000 ways to Sunday. So they're playing it over every spare minute. Well, I need to have that conversation with that person. Let me think through how this is going to go. And they probably talk to 500 people about this one conversation that they need to have, that if they would just go have the conversation, it'd probably take 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe it's 2 minutes. I don't know. And then they would be done. and they would stop spending so much time and energy and other people's time and energy on the conversation. Now, I'm not saying that there are no difficult conversations and there are no hard conversations, because there are some topics that are harder to broach than others.
Mhm.
But when we were wrapping that around leadership and some relationship, most of those conversations really aren't hard. We're just not familiar with them because we don't do them very often. They're
So
unfamiliar.
yes,
Unfamiliar does not make them hard.
if we go back to our last episode that, and don't forget that you're going to suck at things that you're doing for the first time. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, and it doesn't mean that you should stop.
And we're human. We're going to screw up a conversation. It's okay. Take a beat, come back at it. It's not a big deal. But what I do know is that when we avoid conversations and people are expecting you to have a conversation with them, they're anticipating a conversation and you don't have it, they're going to fill in the blanks. And you're not going to be happy with what they're filling the blanks in with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That vacuum will get filled with something. You have an opportunity to make it filled with, to get it filled with what matters and what's real, as opposed to the stuff that people can invent.
Yeah. I remember one time years ago, this person wanted to have a conversation with me, and she didn't and didn't and didn't and didn't and did it. And then one day just absolutely blew up at me in front of a whole bunch of people. And everyone was like, what was that about? And I was like, I have no idea. She looked like a complete lunatic.
Mm.
And I was like, you can yell at me all you want. I had no idea what she was yapping on about. And so when she calmed down the next day, I went and had a conversation with her. And it was something that had happened months ago that she didn't like, that I had said. I don't even remember what it was, but she just carried it with her and then just blew up in front of a room full of people. Passive aggressive.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't be that person, because we could have had a real simple conversation. And what she thought I said wasn't at all what I actually said.
Then there's that.
She took my words and put them through an interpretation and said, this is what you said. And I was like, I have exactly what I said. And I showed it to her. I was like, that is not what I said, nor is it what the words meant. Conversation done. But she carried it with her for months and then blew up at me for no reason.
And the residual, the blowback from that being how she came across, what other people were thinking and wondering, and just set all of these ripples in motion.
Yeah.
And because if you're holding on to something, that's the thing, an unexecuted conversation it's going to come out one way or another. And in this particular case, bombastically, it's going to come out and there's going to be damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what one might have been trying to avoid in the first place, or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, is there room to, not villainize avoidance? Is there space to be able to say, okay, well, we understand why avoidance happens. I mean, there might be some good reasons.
Like what?
Preservation of a relationship.
How does avoidance preserve a relationship?
Great question. It's a great question.
I'm just curious.
I know about, so
because it hasn't worked out for me. So I'm just wondering, where I have avoided, it hasn't worked out. I would like some tips, please.
Okay. The fact is that we as humans, if there's an opportunity for conflict or an opportunity for rejection or a fear of being misunderstood, those kinds of things may be reason enough to consider how important it is that I not avoid this conversation, but that I get good and ready to have it. And if I'm not comfortable being able to have it in the moment, that means that I got some work to do, because not having the conversation is not the answer. But recognizing that you may have some concerns about it actually helps fuel how to prepare for it. Michelle, you've done a lot of work on self and understanding others and dynamics and organizations and between people and all of that. And for those of us who haven't invested that much time in being able to understand who the hell we are and what are the things we do fear and where are we strong or not, is that if we feel the need, that if it's like, oh my God, I just don't want to have that conversation, that's a doorway. That's not a reason to not have the conversation. It is a signal. It is an opportunity to reflect on what is it that's getting in the way of me just being able to say, I heard this, what you said, and I received it in a way that was not comfortable. And I just want to check it in with you. You've got lots of really gracious ways of saying that. And you've shared those with us through many of these episodes. But it's that you got to take advantage of a moment that said, okay, if you're feeling you need to avoid a conversation, figure out why. And then prepare yourself.
Well, there's a difference between what you just said and avoiding a conversation.
Yes.
There is, I'm not ready to have this conversation right now, so let me get ready, versus I am never having that conversation, avoidance.
Yes. I will give you that.
So when you said avoid the conversation, my head went to, oh, we're just never going to have it.
Yes, I understand.
Because that would be avoidance. And I'm like, that has never worked out for me ever. So let me know how that works out for you. Because I would like, there's some conversation I would never like to have, but I'm going to have them. But if I don't have to, please inform me.
Yeah, I'm not coming to the doc and telling her what to do. No. No. But the longer we do wait, if there's a conversation,
The longer you wait, the more stuff builds up, whatever that stuff may be.
It gets more expensive, emotionally.
Yes.
So no need to do that. No need to rev up the charges.
Yeah. I mean, like whatever you aren't expressing directly is getting expressed one way or another.
Yeah.
So have the conversation. Do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Okay. If we were to bring that back to leadership, the whole notion of understanding when you are facing a conversation that isn't feeling like you're ready to have it, being able to understand that that's a doorway for you to be able to walk through to get ready and to make it happen. And if we look at it through leadership lens, it's about clarifying things.
Mm-hmm.
It's about addressing tension. It's not accusing anyone of anything. It's saying, here's what's in the room. Naming just being able to, what's the formula in crucial conversations? It's what was the situation? What was the behaviors and the observations? Did I get that right?
Oh, for the Center for Leadership does the feedback formula is situation, behavior, and impact.
Impact. So that's what it is. It's just reporting the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Only the facts.
Yeah. I think it's funny because we do a lot with SBI teaching that and talking about that. And it's very humorous to me that many people cannot describe a behavior. They describe the judgment that they have on the behavior.
Would you just give a simple demonstration of...
You were angry. What did that person do that made you think they were angry? Because I had this happen to me one time where somebody told me I was angry in a meeting and I was not. I had a headache. I didn't feel good. I was not angry. She insisted I was angry. So I finally said to her, what exactly did I do that made you think I was angry? And she said, you sat with your head in your hand. Oh, and that signals angry to you? Angry is you raised your voice, you pounded your fists on the table. Those would be behaviors that are observable. Angry is an interpretation of the behavior.
Yes.
Right? And so oftentimes, he was a jerk to me. Okay. Sally, how was he a jerk to you? He's just mean. Okay, how is he mean? Well, he was a jerk. Oh, okay, that's not helpful. I can't do anything about that. You got to help me out here. What are the behaviors? What did he do? What did he say? People can't often describe the behavior. It's fascinating to me.
It is. And that notion of the objectively observable behavior isn't something that it would be if three people saw it, observed it, they would have all observed the same three things. Now, they will all three of them interpret them differently, but it doesn't change the raising of the voice, the pounding on the table.
Right.
Those are those differences. Mm-hmm. But what you were just speaking to is we immediately then go to the translation of the so what of the behavior. The behaviors are the what, the so what is that whole translation into what must have been going on and what comes from that. And then now what is, okay, let's say I did that. I watched you yell and pound on the table. And now I have translated that into the fact that you're angry. Well, now what do I do about that?
Well, now I can have a conversation about why are you angry?
Yes. As opposed to just shutting up and walking out the room and talking to your three closest neighbors about the jerk. Okay. Well, there we solved that. Okay. Okay. What is it that we could pass along as some encouragement for people?
I think particularly in the workplace, when leaders avoid conversations, we see it all the time. Mm-hmm. It creates a culture that you probably don't want to have. Mm-hmm. If people don't get held accountable, they're going to continue to do the thing that you don't want them to do. It's going to create confusion for people. Like this poor guy that was like, what do you mean I'm late because I'm not here at 8:00? Well, the rest of the team's here at 8. You don't come in till 9. We have flex time. I can come in at 9. And also, how would I know that everyone's here at 8 if I'm not here till 9? But unreasonable expectations that aren't stated. Not having conversations creates confusion for other people. It creates a culture on your team that you may or may not intend. And it also just lets people get away with stuff they probably shouldn't be getting away with.
Yeah.
And if you let something go, you see it one time and you think, oh, that's just a one-time occurrence. And then it happens again and again and again and again and again, and you still haven't addressed it. Now it just becomes, that's what we do here. It's problematic when you let things go and you don't address. Avoidance, particularly in leadership, is very problematic and creates a lot of confusion. Does the same thing in relationships, does the same thing in friendships. Anytime you need to have a conversation, it can be problematic when you avoid it.
Yeah.
Brene Brown, clear as kind. Mm-hmm. Heed that advice.
Yeah.
And think about if you're avoiding conversations, or someone's avoiding a conversation with you, what might want to do about it?
Yeah. And just maybe consider that the discomfort of the conversation is a lot smaller than the cost of avoiding it in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know people fear conversations, but it's not about being fearless. It's about being honest. There's a big difference.
And with that, I'm Carla Lewis.
I'm DocShellie. We'll see you next time. When we avoid conversations and people are expecting you to have a conversation with them, they're anticipating a conversation and you don't have it, they're going to fill in the blanks. And you're not going to be happy with what they're filling the blanks in with.